Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of These Homestead. My name is Derek, and today we're going to be discussing how much land do you actually need to homestead. I know that might seem like a question that maybe you think you already know the answer to, or you think, is he really going to be able to tell me that? Well, homesteading's become a popular lifestyle for those who are looking to become more self-sufficient and stuff like that. So, and the biggest question that most people that are getting into homesteading have is, how much land do I need to homestead? Well, let's dig into that in this video and see if we can't help you come up with your answer. Hey, and if you watched video number 51 all the way through the last video, here's what I want to tell you. The details for the 500 subscriber giveaway is going to be at the end of this video. So stick around to the end and you'll get those details. Okay, so the first thing that you want to think about is how big that you need to look at is how big is your family? Like, are you trying to produce food for 10 people, or are you trying to produce food for just 2? So it all depends on the size of your family as to how much land you're going to need, because you might say, well, what do you mean? What does the size of my family have to do anything with it? Well, it has to do with the size of the land you need for your house. It has to do with the size of land you need to produce enough food, because if one of your goals is to be as self-sufficient as you possibly can be, and you're trying to grow as much of your own food as you can, then you're going to need to produce a bigger garden, put in more fruit trees, orchard, all that kind of stuff, if you have a family of 10 or 4 or whatever it is that you have, versus if you have a family of just 2 or 1 or 3. So for example, like a family of 4 might need about 5 acres roughly to homestead, depending on what their goals are. And we're going to get into that in another section. But anyhow, they might need about 5 acres. Whereas a family of 2 might be able to get away with just 2 or maybe 3 acres. One of the reasons why the size of your family is important to be able to consider that and how much land you actually need is, so say corn. Say you want to grow your own corn. If you have a family of 4 and you want to grow your own corn, depending on what resource you look at and how much you guys like to eat corn and stuff like that. And that's the one thing I'll warn you about. Like, none of these resources that you see online or anything else where they tell you like plant this many plants for a family of 4 and that'll give you enough corn for the year. None of them are guaranteed 100% accurate, because they don't know how good your crop's going to do and what your yield's going to actually be for the plants that you put in. They also don't know how much you guys actually do enjoy eating that crop. So say like corn, maybe you like to eat corn 5 nights a week. Well, their chart probably doesn't have you figured eating corn 5 nights a week. They probably figured you're eating it like maybe 2 or 3 times, and then eating corn or eating green beans or something like that, and peas or whatever on some of the other nights. So they probably didn't figure that you're going to eat corn 5 nights a week, but maybe that's what you like. So maybe you eat corn 5 times a week. But like, just looking online real quick, I did a quick Google search of how much corn do you need to plant for a family of 4. And on 2 different websites, and I went with, there was a couple other websites too, but I went with these main 2, mainly because I know them. They're both reputable companies. So like Haas Tools. If you haven't ever heard of Haas Tools, they also have a YouTube website. They sell seed. They sell all sorts of tools and stuff for gardening and that kind of stuff. So go check them out. Haas Tools said you need about 25 pounds of corn per person to last you for the year. So for a family of 4, that's about 100 pounds of corn is what you're going to need to get through a year for a family of 4. And they said roughly figure that's about 94 plants. So I don't know, maybe you need more, maybe you need less. That's all in how much you guys like corn. So all right, and then Melissa K. Norris, another YouTube channel, another big reputable person. She says figure roughly about 15 plants per person. And now that's assuming that your plants are putting out 2 ears per plant. So if they're only putting out 1 ear per plant, and usually whenever you buy the corn, usually it tells you like expect 1 ear per plant or 2 ears per plant. So if they tell you to expect 1 ear per plant, you're gonna have to double those numbers, because her figure is based off of 2 ears per plant. So she said about 15 plants per person, so roughly about 60 plants for a family of 4. So 60 plants from Melissa K. Norris, 94 from Haas Tools. That's what I'm saying. Don't always go off of what you read online, because there's 2 different answers for the same question from 2 different reputable, in my opinion, they're both reputable places. So you sort of need to figure out on your own, like, how much do you guys actually like to eat corn. In the first year, I would overplant, because you can always can it and preserve it and have it sitting on the shelf the next year. And then if you have a bunch left over, say you put in 100 plants this year and you have 5 cans left whenever it's time to plant for next year, you know that you're probably going to run out before you actually get that harvest of corn that you're putting in right now. So you probably want to put in a few more than 100 for next year. Or say you get to where you're getting ready to put in and you still have 30 cans left sitting on the shelf. Well, that's probably easily going to last you to your harvest. So you probably don't need to put in 100 plants this year. You could probably put in 75 or 80. So take that all into consideration. Okay, so another thing you need to consider is, what are your goals for homesteading? So it all depends on what your goals are, how much that's going to impact the land you need. If your goal is to become as self-sufficient as you possibly can and produce as much of your own food as you possibly can, then you're going to need more land than if your goal is to just reduce your carbon footprint. Like, if that's all your goal is to reduce your carbon footprint, you don't need as much land as if you're going to plant enough food to be as self-sufficient as you possibly can. And again, if your goal is that you're going to produce enough food that you're going to open a farm stand or sell at farmers markets or stuff like that, you're going to need more food or more land even yet, because you need to produce even more food yet. So you need to look at all that kind of stuff. Like, are you just going to do a house? Are you going to do a house and a garden? Are you going to have livestock? Are you going to have just small animals? Or are you going to have big animals too? Do you want cows? Do you want your own milk cow? Do you want milk goats? All that stuff you need to consider and try and get a plan in place ahead of time. Now, granted, plans change. So what you plan now and buy enough land for now might not be the plan in 5 years or 3 years or 4 years or 2 years. So that plan might change. But those are some of the things that you want to consider is, what are my goals for the homestead? Am I trying to get self-sufficient, create an income stream, quit my 9-to-5 job and be at home all the time? Because you probably need more land now, because you're trying to produce extra income and make that extra money. So if you're trying to grow produce or raise cows and pigs and all that stuff and sell them and create some income off of that, then you're going to need more land. So that's something else you need to figure out. What are your goals for the homestead? Okay, another thing you need to figure out is, what types of crops and animals do you plan on growing and having and raising on your homestead? Like, if you're going to just do chickens and rabbits, you don't need as much land as if you're going to do pigs and horses and cows. Those, you're going to need a lot more land. So that's something that you need to figure out ahead of time. Also, what are you going to grow? Are you going to grow a big field of corn and then sell corn and on top of what you harvest? So, or are you going to just do cucumbers and beans and peppers and tomatoes? You wouldn't need as much land for that. Or maybe you're going to do strawberries. Or again, like I said just previously there in that last segment, are you going to be selling at a farmer's market? Are you going to put in a roadside stand at your homestead? Those are all ways you can make extra money, but at the same time, now you need extra land. So all stuff that you need to consider. All right, hey, and before we go over this last one, here's a question for you real quick. And that is, do you guys want me, so each one of these little topics, like size of family, your goals for homesteading, the type of crops you plan on growing, and the next one that we're getting ready to go into, all of these, you could really expand on that subject. Like, I could expand on size of family and what you need to consider and how that would affect how much land you need to get. Same thing with your goals for homesteading. Same thing with the types of crops and the animals and stuff like that you're going to have. I could narrow that down a little better for you or give you more information to think about. So my question to you, and what I want you to put in the comments down below is, would you like me to do a little series and go into more detail for each one of these topics? And some of the other topics too we could come up with, like expenses and stuff like that. So do you want me to do a little series where I'm going more in depth, just breaking down for each topic what you need to consider and stuff like that? So just let me know in the comments down below. Okay, so for the last one here, it's your climate and your soil quality. So you might say, wait, how much does that have anything to do with how much land I need? Well, up here in Pennsylvania, say I'm going to raise cows, and say you're going to raise cows, and say somebody else is going to raise cows. And let's say I'm in Pennsylvania, you're in Florida, and that other person's in West Texas. Well, the amount of land I need to raise a cow is probably just a little bit less than what you need down in Georgia, Florida. But what you need down there in Georgia, Florida is just a little bit less than what that person's going to need over in West Texas. And you might say, wait, what do you mean by they're going to need so much more land than what I need down in Florida, Georgia, versus what you need up in Pennsylvania? Well, the grass quality and stuff like that is going to be a lot different down there in West Texas. Like, without irrigation and stuff, you're going to have a lot of issues trying to grow your grass and produce beef on the same amount of land as what I can up here. Not saying it can't be done, because they do it all over the place down there, but they need a lot more land. The ranches are a lot bigger than what they are up here. So that's all I'm saying. That's what you need to look at as far as your climate and your soil quality, because it's all going to depend on how much land do you need for your crops. So also, if you live in an area that has a shorter growing season, you can't do succession planting. So you can't plant a crop early in the spring and then plant another one in the middle of summer and then still be able to harvest it before it gets too cold. So that's another thing that climate and stuff would come into effect. Like down in Georgia, Florida, you're going to beat me because you could probably get 2 crops in every year. Up here in Pennsylvania, I can't. You get 1 shot. That's about the extent of it. There's some stuff, yeah, you could do like a delayed planting and still get a second harvest, but most things, it's not like you can plant one area of land, let it go to where it's ready to be harvested, harvest it, and then turn around and dig it back up and replant in that same piece of land. You would have to use a totally different piece of land, which again requires more land. So if you see what I'm saying, soil quality and your climate have a big effect on how much land you're going to need. Hey, and if you watched that last video, 10 things to consider when looking for land to homestead, I'll leave a link to it. If you didn't get the chance to watch it, I'll leave a link to it here at the end of this video so you can go back and watch that one. But if you watched that video and you watched it all the way to the end, not the first fake end, but the real end at the very end, you heard me announce that I was going to drop the details for the first contest that I'm getting ready to do. I'm getting ready to be running 2 contests simultaneously, and I'm getting ready to drop the details for that first contest right now. So hopefully you were paying attention, or if you weren't, hopefully you are now. Okay, so the first contest that I'm getting ready to do is for 500 subs. We're not at 500 subs yet, but we're getting closer. So here's the rules. First, this isn't sponsored by YouTube or any other company. This is strictly sponsored by me. It's put on by me. It's ran by me. It's only me. Here's what I need you to do. So I need you to go back to video number 50. So 50, go back to video number 50 And I need you to watch that video, and I need you to find the spot where the deer that are in the background, where they leave the video. Stop the video right whenever you get to that spot. To stop the video, you'll see the deer. They're in the background. I've seen them. I'm sure most of you that have watched that video already have seen them. You're probably gonna have to go back though and figure out where it's at. Find that spot, pause it, write down the time, the exact time that the deer leave the video. When you find that, come back to this video, and down in the comments, here's what I need you to type. Don't type the time. All I need you to type is found it. On Memorial Day, so I'm giving you some time. You have time to work on this. On Memorial Day, and also you have time to subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet, and try and help us get to 500 by Memorial Day. So on Memorial Day, I'll do a draw. I'll put my daily nugget up. If you haven't seen my daily nuggets, I post a little short every day, just a little inspirational stuff. Again, leave a comment down below and let me know if you think that they're getting better, or if I need to keep working on it. I'm trying to get to where I'm giving you just a little nugget of information. Some of the stuff is just crazy stuff, like just to get you thinking about homesteading. And then some of the stuff is actually good information. So I'm trying to lean more towards the good information and lean away from the crazy stuff. But anyhow, the daily nugget on Memorial Day. Okay, let me change this. You have until 5:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Memorial Day to put your comment in saying that you found it. What I'll do is at 5:00 on Memorial Day, that evening, I will run the contest, create the short. Okay, so the day after Memorial Day, I'll put up my daily nugget short. My daily nugget short will be announcing who won. That person will then email me, and you'll have till the end of that week. You'll have till Friday to let me know that it's you and where you found the deer leaving the video at in that video in number 50. Once I verify that you're correct, then you'll win the prize, and we'll do a whole boxing video, just a little quick boxing video of me shipping you out your prize. And you might say, wait, what's the prize? You didn't tell us the prize. Yeah, I'm not going to, but if you've ever been around for one of my videos, or one of my giveaways that I've done before, they're always good. I'm wanting to say, like, the value of the cheapest one I've done has been probably, I think maybe 100. So you know it's going to be over $100. The other contest that I'm going to run, which that one I'll put out here in about 2 weeks. So the other contest I'm going to run, that one will be an even bigger prize. So again, consider subscribing down below so you can find out about that other contest too and what it's about. So, hey, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you would, hit that like button, click subscribe, share this video with your friends, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Have a good day.